So today is January 31st, I believe, of 2024. And as you can see here, I continue to make slow but steady progress. Coming up here. Say hello, Archie. This one, another one that was a bear to put on. Now the last couple pieces I got to put on here aren't going to be quite so bad for a couple of reasons. One, I'm away from this cradle so I can get at it a little easier. And it's also coming up higher. And they're going to be a little bit shorter too. I'll show you the piece I've got cut for this next one here and what I'm going to do. But otherwise, these have been full 4x8 sheets, or very, very close to full 4x8 sheets. They're trimmed a little bit to get the angles proper, but otherwise they were full sheets. But here's the next piece that's going in there. And this is aft, and this is forward, you know, up and down. So what I did was I cut this one at an angle, made this a little bit shorter on this end, so that end will butt up against the last piece that's there, and it'd be a full 4 feet. But then it angles down about 9 inches or so here. And the reason I did that, again, was so I don't have a piece of plywood just tapering out to nothingness. Otherwise, had I put a full sheet in here, and I got it marked here, this is where 4 feet ends, and it gets smaller. Everything forward is smaller than 4 feet. So we would have had just a tiny little piece of sliver in here that would have tapered very sharp to a fine point. And to avoid that, I'm putting this piece in and coming down to here, here or something like that. Then we'll have a piece that goes in up there. And I haven't quite decided yet what I'm going to do. Now to finish this off, and I'll have one more piece about 6 feet long to go in here. Then I'm going to end that about in here, and then this up here is all going to be structural fiberglass, like 7 layers of 1708. But I haven't decided for sure what I'm going to do, if I want to offset the joints on these or not. Well, I'd like to, but I haven't decided if I'm going to. I mean, obviously, and I mentioned that, I think, in a video, a couple videos ago, that ideally you want to, you know, separate these joints, you know, put a 4-foot piece in there and then put an 8-foot piece in here, so you're covering this joint here, adding a little more rigidity, a little more structural soundness to it. But the problem with that is these sheets are not on a perfectly straight line. So I would have to pattern these. You know, they come down a little bit this way and this way. There's a little bit of a, this would be a little, the pivot of a V, or the point of a V, inside point of a V. And so I'd have to pattern all those. And I don't know if it's worth doing that or not. I mean, the boat's got plenty of longitudinal rigidity. I mean, all of this structure up here is, you know, and the keel, and yeah, I can't imagine I'd need to do that. Well, I know I don't need to, because the boat was intended to have just this layer of 2 by 1.5 inch thick hull, and of course by adding a 1/2 inch of plywood, we're just making it that much stronger. So everything I've done is at least, you know, what was recommended by George Bueller in the plans, and in most cases I've gone beyond. So it should be structurally pretty sound regardless of what I do here. So with that in mind, I might just leave these end on the previous joints just to make it easier, because again, this is just me doing it, and I need to start finding ways to speed things up, to get things done a little faster. Okay, here's the next piece that's going on there then. And I've been using the glasskoter rollers, just the regular, whatever these are, type of rollers, and those glasskoter covers. These little guys here, Corona glaskoters. And what I found, because I used them on that last sheet entirely, what I found was it was significantly easier wetting out the bare plywood. you know, just bare plywood before I got any of the cloth on. So I put a layer of epoxy on, and it was much easier coating this bare plywood out with the glasskoter. And then I put the fiberglass on, then I put another coat of epoxy on over top the fiberglass. And it was probably a little bit more difficult with the glasskoter roller cover, working the fiberglass on, getting the epoxy worked into the fiberglass. And I think the real reason for that is probably just simply the fact those foam rollers are stiffer. So it's easier to push the glass cloth down and work it onto the surface. But not that that's a huge deal anyway, because I always come back with the fin roller, and that actually does a much better job of getting the cloth worked down and any bubbles worked out. But so yeah, we're poking away at this. Once I get those last two pieces, this piece and one more on there, and we'll start working on this. And what I did was I moved one of my supports here. I moved this one out and put one in here first, of course. Then I moved this one out, and I'm not quite sure what we're going to do. I guess we'll just have to keep, you know, moving these around as we put plywood up there, just to keep it supported, the bolt supported. What you guys doing? Getting in trouble? Huh? Oh, they're always in trouble. Yeah. And I haven't been doing just a whole lot up here, but I think I mentioned I was going to start working on the door going into the engine room here. And I did get a little bit of a start on that, at least. This area up here was all open, and there's a hollow space in here. So I put this piece in here. I put this piece here in. And let me get the lights on. Put this piece in here so I had that hollow area accessible. Then I filled it with fiberglass. And then glued and screwed this thing on. And then I put a couple of them in here, and they also are glued and nailed and or screwed. Not quite sure how I want to do this yet, but I'm pretty sure I want the door to open into the engine room. So the door will just swing open this way. Originally I was going to have it opening out here, but I think it'd be better opening in if possible. So that's what we're going to shoot for. I bought some, see here's some of the fiberglass that I stuffed in there. I bought some door seal, and this is silicone. A silicone door seal. Don't know if it's going to be heavy duty enough to do the trick, but thought I'd give it a try. Of course, I got to build the door first, and then all this stuff will get filled and sanded. But again, I got to do this stuff keeping in mind I can't spend like Leo's guys on Tally-Ho. I can't spend 2.5 months working on one cabinet, you know, or one door or whatever. That just isn't in the cards for me. I'm not going to live long enough to do that type of work, so I'm kind of doing stuff as quickly, but is building it as well as I can. You know, building everything solid. So hopefully we won't have any issues down the road. But yeah, anyway, that's where we are this week, and we'll just keep plugging away.